Hello, everyone. Hey, greetings and welcome to the 2024 Red Kettle Luncheon. We thank you so much, all the generous and amazing supporters of the Salvation Army, and also the new friends we have here today. We wanted to welcome everybody here today, to include those first-time Salvation Army Red Kettle Luncheon. Can we give everybody in the room a big round of applause for being here? So I think it's good noon. Good noon, everybody. My name is Dan Leiter. I'm on the board with Salvation Army King County, and I've been designated to be the MC today, and it's a great honor and a privilege to be with you all. We want to come together today and help recognize the amazing work, the life-saving work that the Salvation Army King County is doing in our community. Today we celebrate the people, the relationships forged between caregiver and clients who work and walk together in this journey of transformation. Today's theme is going to be person to person and heart to heart. The Salvation Army is known for service above self. And everyone we celebrate today lives this day in and out for the sake of their fellow men and women. It is an honor to be a part of this organization with this purpose. Being here today, you are telling us that you believe in this purpose too, and we thank you so very much. So I was born and raised in King County during the height of the grunge era. Anybody else relate here? Maybe some of you, my best friend from high school, Brian Vivaldi, would attest. Thanks for being here, Brian. On 9/11, we were all shook with the tremendous tragedy of our nation being attacked. And I think all of us wrestled with the fact that we wanted to do something about it, but didn't know where to start. No longer did the mosh pits or the flannels or the Doc Martens fill my cup, but I wanted to get involved and do something. So I had the amazing opportunity to go to Ground Zero a month after the Trade Towers came down to my church. And you know who was there? The Salvation Army was there. And I was so impressed by the operation, the organization, the compassion, and the faith of those workers there. And I was impressed. Little did I know 20 years later, I would get an invitation from Dan Eds, who's the father of Jason, that I work with, to join the board. And it's such an honor to be a part of the board. We can do so much together, much more so than we can do as individuals. It is powerful to have this many people in one room, all focused on the same purpose, serving others. Well, let's do it. All right? You guys ready to do it? Our fundraising goal is $500,000, and I know we can do it. We can meet this number today. We must meet this number today for our fellow men and women in our community that are hurting, that are broken, that are suffering, need our help, and must have it. Lives are literally depending on it for us to do so. It's not easy to have an off-site luncheon today, especially in downtown Seattle. I heard the president is visiting, so that probably makes it a little more challenging. But we wanted to thank you so much for being here. And here is my promise to you on this lovely afternoon. A delicious meal, yum yum, some great music, some fine dining and socializing, and learning an opportunity, and also the chance to probably shed a few tears. I know I will. I know my boss will. He's a very sensitive guy. I love him. We have an opportunity to do a great opportunity and a good deed today, and to advance the philanthropic efforts of the Salvation Army. And why doing all these things today will do what's most holy, and that's to save lives. In my humble opinion, all fun events have an audience participation segment. Wouldn't you agree? All right. Well, lucky for us, we have two today. So let's get started with our first activity, shall we? Okay, please raise your hand in the air if and when you agree with the following statements. And if you could kindly hold your hand in the air for at least 5 seconds so that we can see all the hands that are raised around in the room. Okay? So the first statement I want you to raise your hand if you agree with. I care about people. A lot of caring people in this room, folks. All right, number 2, if you can put your hands down. Thank you so much. Saving human lives is important to me. It's important to me too. Number 3, the Salvation Army does critical work here in King County. Absolutely. I don't know if you've seen the street level buses all around town and vans around town. I can't escape them. They're everywhere. Thank God. Number 4, the health and well-being of our local community really and truly matters. I don't think I saw anybody's hand not raised, so give yourself a round of applause, everybody. I knew there was something special to this group. This is good people right here. As you know, our Red Kettle Luncheon theme this year is person to person and heart to heart. These 2 hands here on the screen behind me, over there, and on your program, they represent us all, connected to the Salvation Army in King County, supporting our most vulnerable neighbors in need. But these hands also tell a very important story about our work, the heart of what we can do, and that's saving lives. The 2 hands are deliberately yet gently supporting one another. If you look closely, there's no clutching, there's no gripping, there's a respectful familiarity shared between 2 different people in this one simple hand gesture. There's partnership, there's connection, support. There's an agreement going on between these 2 people. There's a soulful exchange of human kindness and goodness. I see and feel these emotions when glancing at this one image. Do you? The Salvation Army is everywhere. They're in New York. The Salvation Army, I had a chance to visit White Center with Lieutenant Chris and Makda. They're in White Center, reaching out to seniors, providing a place where kids can come and go after school, providing a food pantry for the neighborhood. The Salvation Army is in the Soda District with the shelter, providing housing for countless individuals that are currently facing struggles. Also, I've got a chance to visit the William Booth Center, where Captain Melissa is helping to house over 122 of our veterans, those that have served our nation and putting their life on a line. Salvation Army is around in our street. Tina Lewis and her team ministering wherever they go. I had a chance to do a ride-along in Auburn with the Auburn PD, and they basically worked themselves out of a job there because they've got all the people living in vehicles help them find barriers to overcome with housing situations and provide tangible needs to help them in their time of need. These are just a few places that the Salvation Army is at. We are here in King County. But truly, saving lives is really the work of many, and it takes all of us together supporting these great work to keep this army going. And it does cost quite a bit of money to save this many lives in need. Person to person and heart to heart. The Salvation Army is you and it is I. Being here today, you are all saving lives by giving hope to others, and we are all doing a bit of God's holy work. Here are just a few local Salvation Army facts we'd like you to know. Did you know that 148 Salvation Army social service staff and 12 officers served almost 75,000 people in our community? That's cause for a celebration, everybody. Let's give it up for a round of applause. This was just in 2023, and we're hoping to do even much more kindness and goodness to our city with the help of your generosity. Think about those numbers while you look at some of the people that we've helped up here on the screen. The Salvation Army committed over $12.5 million last year to transform these lives for the better. And in fact, 84 cents on every dollar went directly to supporting our clients, which is an impressive return on investment. I can think of no other organization in the world that does more with the dollar given to them than the Salvation Army. Let's give it up for the Salvation Army. A brief encounter or conversation, or even a smile, can lead to getting a man into addiction recovery programming, a mom out of a physically abusive situation, a family food in their empty refrigerator, or a veteran safe in permanent housing. Fellowship, compassion, and hope, person to person and heart to heart, saves lives every single day the Salvation Army way. Thank you so much that last year we almost raised $500,000 in 2023 at our Red Kettle Luncheon. Ladies and gentlemen, we need it now more than everything else. With the rise of inflation and the cost of the work that we're doing, we were able to stretch that almost $500,000 in tremendous ways. And we need your help once again. I know that we can do this together. Our neighbors in need across King County are depending on us to do so. We are blessed to have a very generous group of individuals, our Red Kettle Challenge donors. Go ahead and look up at the screen here, folks. These are all the folks that have said, yes, I will match every $300 that is given here today. So please give a round of applause for our Red Kettle Challenge donors, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you to all of you Red Kettle Challenge donors for your generosity. 100% of the gifts received today support our neighbors in need across King County. I just remembered, if you have your cell phone, please silence it. Thank you. Sorry, I forgot. Donation forms are located in an envelope in the center of your table. And when you feel the Spirit moving and tugging on your heart, which I'm sure you will after you hear the stories here today, go ahead and grab one of those forms at the center of your table. And please give generously to help our vulnerable and lost friends in need. You can also move into the virtual age, folks, and we've got QR codes as well up on the screen and as well found in your program and also on your table. Just go ahead and open your smartphone's camera and take a shot, and you can be directed to our giving page. I wanted to welcome two very special people here today to give the opening prayer that embody our event theme, person to person, heart to heart. I wanted to welcome today Captain Felicia Grant, Program Officer, and Captain Melissa Jones, Seattle Social Services Chaplain. Give them a hand. So both of these remarkable women have served more than 250 people each day who have previously experiencing homelessness on 6th Avenue. The captains today will lead us in prayer, very similar to how they pray with us. They pray with willing guests at these places of shelter, offering hope and kindness during times of need when it's needed most.
If you would join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, as we gather together for this blessed luncheon, we thank you for the opportunity to come together in fellowship and unity. We invite your presence to dwell among us, guiding our words and our thoughts. Grant us wisdom as we listen to the messages shared by our speakers today.
Lord, we thank you for each and every person here present who is opening their heart to hear from you today and to serve those who are most in need. We are truly blessed to have so many individuals who care enough to be here today. Lord, please stir their hearts and their minds as they take in all of the amazing work that is done each and every day here in Seattle and King County. Lord, we also thank you for this wonderful meal that we are about to receive. Please bless it unto our bodies and help it bring nourishment to us all. We thank you and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Despite ongoing inflation and very real challenges to their own bottom line, our loyal corporate sponsors hold steady to the life-saving work of the Salvation Army, and we are so grateful. Please go ahead and see on your printed program and up on the screen those loyal corporate sponsors that have so blessed the Salvation Army King County. And please, let's all give them a big round of applause for their generous work. It is now my privilege to welcome a wonderful woman up at the stage here, Colonel Cindy Foley. Would you please go ahead and join me on stage, and let's give Colonel Cindy a huge round of applause.
Well, thank you, Dan, and thank you to all of you for your very enthusiastic welcome. You know, I'm going to expect that music at dinner tonight, so Tim, be ready. I'm so excited to stand here with so many people, with all of you who are standing beside the Salvation Army, ensuring that we don't falter in our life-saving efforts across King County. Because of your incredible support, we can feed people who are desperately hungry. We can house people who are living in their cars and on the streets. We can heal individuals who are addicted to drugs and alcohol, and we can do so much more. This year's theme, person to person, heart to heart, truly resonates with me, and I hope it does for you, or it will be by the time you leave today. I have 39-year head start on you. One of the things I love most about my role is the opportunity to witness the impact of our ministry across the Northwest. The ability to see the community and the individuals that we serve, to meet our clients and our team members, to experience the positive execution of our mission as it's transforming for me and for the people that we serve. From my office in Queen Anne here in Seattle, across to Havre, Montana, from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, to the beautiful mountains of eastern Washington, and then back home again, a route that I take regularly and will again tomorrow. The Salvation Army literally is changing the lives of hundreds of thousands of children, adults, and families across our incredible Northwest. I'm both proud and humbled by the opportunity that we have as community change agents, each one of us doing our part. But what I cherish most are the people that we serve and the stories of their transformation. And that transformation is fueled by loving care, but I think mostly by the gift of hope. One recent example of Salvation Army Hope in Action comes from a mother and daughter that I've been with several times. They're now reunited, and they've become bearers of hope themselves. Justina is in her mid-30s, and she made some really bad choices when she was in her 20s. That resulted in her being sentenced to federal prison on drug charges. Justina found placement for her toddler daughter and was a model prisoner while she was in the penitentiary. She participated in drug counseling and life skills classes and other programs that qualified her for the early release program. 2 months before her release, the prison system gives Justina a weekend pass to go home and to make arrangements for housing and those next steps. Knowing that she would need community support to help her once that she was released, Justina was determined to meet those Salvation Army people, she calls us, who published a Christian magazine called The War Cry that she received while she was in prison. She had no previous connection to us. So during that weekend pass, let's get to this courage she showed. Justina just showed up at the local Salvation Army at a worship service, and she just boldly shared her story. I'm on a weekend pass from federal prison on a drug charge. How many times have you heard that in your church service? She shared the whole story of her life. And she said, in 2 months, when I come back, I'm going to get my daughter back, I'm going to get a job, and I want to join up with you. And you know what happened? Justina followed through with that promise. She became a regular volunteer with the Salvation Army since her release. She's now regained custody of her 7-year-old daughter. She's found regular employment, and she's a volunteer leader of a life recovery group for families who are living in addiction. She started a program in her neighborhood to take hot meals that they serve at the core out to homeless families living on the streets. It's their version of street level. And she's joined the supportive journey of other parents who are just experiencing challenges in life, whether that's from addiction or other causes, so she can be part of giving them hope to sustain their journey. Justina was literally a taker as she started her adult life, but now she's an ambassador of hope, whose life purpose is to have a positive impact on our community and with the individuals and the families that she feels privileged to walk alongside. The Salvation Army one day welcomed Justina and gave her hope and vision for a better life, and now she's providing that for others. As I look around this room of friends, I'm moved to think that everyone here is able to contribute in some way to loving those that we serve beyond their current circumstances, to restoring hope where hope does not exist, and to bringing about transformation. The Salvation Army is committed to hope and transformation across the globe in 138 countries, but mostly we are committed right here to transforming the vulnerable lives and people in our own neighborhoods, in our own communities. Let's start with the macro impact. During 2023, over 74,000 people received life-saving services throughout King County. Now, I know it was mentioned earlier, but I do think that deserves another round of applause. Over 74,000. Somehow, I think we need to work a little harder last year. It really should be 75, it sounds better. So, we'll get on that. Many of our neighbors in need are hungry, and some are literally starving. They're unable to feed themselves and unable to feed their children. The Salvation Army continues to keep our King County neighbors fed in the face of escalating food costs. And I don't know about you, but I'm regularly startled at the prices that I see at the local grocery store. But imagine when you're there thinking about whether you want that wonderful package of berries for $5.99. And sometimes we say, it looks really good, but maybe not today. But what if you're there and instead you're thinking about, am I going to pay the light bill? Or am I going to buy milk for the kids to have on their cereal? Or with a leader in our community that I was with at Christmas time, who told me about how their family, when he was a child, regularly had cream of wheat nights. And that's what his mom tried to add humor to when the money ran out at the end of the month. So she would bring the cream of wheat box down. And she'd pour it in a mug, and she'd pour the boiling water on, and they were all taught, you gotta wait a minute because you need to let the bugs rise to the top. And then take them off, and then you need to eat that because that's what they had. We know that times are tough for each one of us at times, but I can tell you, I've never had to eat only cream of wheat without the bugs for dinner. I've never had to think about, can I pay the water bill? Or literally, I've never had to live when the lights were turned off, and we just have to make do. During 2023, the Salvation Army served 680,018 people, meals to people in need in King County alone. 680,000 meals. And in the face of over 13,368 unhoused persons in the most recent point in time count, that's the number of homeless that are typically on the street any day of the week. The Salvation Army permanently housed more people than any other agency in King County. And we don't act prideful that often, but that's a big deal. Our highly successful, go ahead. If you thought that was good, be prepared to clap louder because it's getting better. Our highly successful street ministries program is now operating 4 outreach vans and mobile case management teams in 22 different communities across King County. So if I told you on any given day, there's 13,368 people homeless at any one time, the Salvation Army alone, with only 4 vans and 9 people, housed 1,503 people and got them into permanent housing last year. That's over 10% of the point in time count. We did that with limited funds and only 4 vans. What do you think that we could do next year with more people and more rent money and more ability to help people? I think that deserves an incredible round of applause. Now, I know there's been a lot of numbers, but what these data points definitely say to all of us is that the Salvation Army is making a meaningful, measurable, and effective investment in our community. But much more important, every single number is a person, one of our King County neighbors in need. Every single number is evidence of personal transformation, and every single transformation happened because hope was restored and a person felt supported enough to reach out when a hand was shared. Person to person, heart to heart, individuals often come to the Salvation Army at a point in their lives when they have lost all hope. Whether they were chronically homeless, struggling with addiction, desperate to reunite with their family, the Salvation Army comes alongside each person who's struggling. We meet them at their point of need, where they are right then on their life journey, and we help that individual create a vision for their life. We are giving them a hand up, not a handout, supporting their transformation journey. And today's luncheon is all about that. Hope and transformation through relationships and through a caring heart. At your seat, you will find the 2023 King County Annual Report, and it's literally hot off the press. I don't think I even have my own copy before I got here today. Please spend a few moments looking at this book of hope personified. The client stories are all stories of profound transformation, and they highlight many of the programs that you can support, and with your support, we can expand by giving a donation to the Salvation Army today. One of the stories you'll read in this book is about Matthew, a veteran and a resident of our William Booth Center whose life has been saved by the Salvation Army, not one time, but twice through our Veterans Transitional Program. You can read about Chica and her 4 children, and her children are the most well-behaved children I've ever met in my entire life. better behaved than my own, who suddenly found themselves living here after reconnecting with her estranged brother in Washington. Chica and the kids showed up with nothing but, I think, the 30 pounds per suitcase that they allow you on international travel. Chica is a registered nurse in both Germany and Nigeria, and when she came here and discovered that her brother was also struggling, they came to know the Salvation Army through the Renton Food Pantry when she came for food to feed her family. And our case manager through our Pathway of Hope program helped her to find a course to get the preparation work done so she could retake the nursing license test in Washington. She passed it with flying colors, and she's now seeking a nursing job, one that requires sponsorship, but she remains unwaveringly hopeful. Charles' story of transformation is also in our annual report, and today you will get to meet him, see a video about his life, and celebrate his ongoing recovery as a recent graduate of our Seattle Adult Rehabilitation Program. Safety, shelter, food, job training for veterans, scholarships, rental assistance, case management support, addiction recovery. There's so many more things that we provide to the community. Maybe one of the biggest is faith. The Salvation Army sets the most lost in King County on the path to transformation and hope with compassion, and we do it person to person and heart to heart. And we're only able to do this with your partnership and your support. So as you're continuing with the program, reading and seeing these incredible personal stories, I want to give you my thanks and hope that you'll give generously. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colonel Cindy. What I love most about seeing the faces of those up on the screen that the Salvation Army has touched and the lives that have been transformed is the hope and the glimmer in their eyes, and that cannot be possible without all of us together making a difference. So I'm going to shut up for a little bit and let everybody eat. So please go ahead and chat with your neighbors and enjoy the food, and let us all give thanks for all of God's bountiful blessings in our life. I feel like this is Thanksgiving all over again. But enjoy your meal, and we'll come back in a little bit. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I woke up this morning, saw the world full of trouble now. How'd we ever get so far down? How's it ever gonna turn around? So I turned my eyes to heaven and said, God, why don't you do something? Just couldn't bear the thought of people living in poverty, children sold into slavery, and that thought disgusted me. So I turned my eyes to heaven and said, God, why don't you do something? And he said, I did. I created you. If not us, then who? If not me and you. Right now, it's time for us to do something. If not now, then when will we see an end to all this pain? Yeah. It's not enough to do nothing. It's time for us to do something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So tired of talking about that we all got hands and feet. It's easier to say than be. Becoming people of apathy, telling ourselves that somebody else would do something. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired. A life with no desire. It's time to bring the fire and be the one who says I'm gonna do something, yeah. So if not us, then who? If not me and you, right now. It's time for us to do something. And if not now, then when will we see it end to all this pain? Yeah. It's not enough to do nothing. It's time for us to do something. We are the salt of the earth. We are a city on a hill. We're never gonna change the world if we're standing still. So we can't stand still. No, we can't stand still. No, we won't stand still. Yeah. If not us, then who? If not me and you, right now, yeah. It's time for us to do something, yeah. If not now, then when will we see an end to all this pain, yeah. It's not enough to do nothing. It's time for us to do something. It's time for us to do something. It's time for us to do something. It's time for us to do something.
First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Len Johnson, and I'm the chair of the King County Advisory Board for the Northwest Division of the Salvation Army. Welcome. A special welcome to table number 6, my table here. But I'm happy to be here today with, and honored to be here with Colonel Cindy Foley. We've done a lot of work together over the last year, and it's a real pleasure to see her professionalism and her knowledge and the work that she does here for the organization and the community as a whole. So with that, I will turn it over to Colonel Cindy.
You know, the last city that I called home, Alexandria, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., was known for its founding fathers. But fast forward now to Seattle, and now I have the privilege of living among the fathers and the mothers of innovation. I think of the coffee giant Starbucks, the internet retail tycoon Amazon, and the aeronautic expert Boeing. Seattle is celebrated for so many incredible reasons. Such natural beauty, gourmet seafood, a vibrant music culture, technology gurus, a World's Fair masterpiece that looks like a flying saucer on a stick, more dogs than children, a wall of fame that's made of chewing gum, a troll that every day is eating a VW bug, and so many more things. My husband Tim and I are trying to experience it all during our stay here, and we feel blessed to call the Emerald City our home address.
Well, I love this region too, and actually I've lived here my entire life, and I'm probably one of the few people in the room today that actually was at the World's Fair when it opened up in '62. So,
I was born then.
so anyway, But our city is constantly on the move and growing. Just look at the number of cranes working in downtown right now. I've read that there's 51 cranes working on a variety of construction projects. That compares to many more than cities of Los Angeles, Denver, and Washington, D.C. Innovation, growth, and transformation is always happening here. Seattle is happening.
You're right. Seattle wants to continue to lead the world, don't we? But as the leader of the largest service organization in the Northwest, I learn more every day about the very serious societal challenges that we face, all of us, with two of the top ones being homelessness and drug addiction and overdose. Have any of you ever been to Mission Viejo, California? Okay. Albany, New York? Springfield, Indiana? That's a tougher one. Each of these cities have close to 650,000 residents. Shockingly, this is the same number of people experiencing homelessness in America right now. You may have not visited these cities, but you've likely been to Snoqualmie or to Woodinville. These two cities have nearly 53,000 residents each. The same number of people that over the course of a year are impacted by homelessness. Those cities have the same population as the number of families that are homeless right now while we're enjoying this lunch on the streets outside this hotel. And this is an often quoted and probably an underrepresented number. Consider the fentanyl crisis. Drug overdoses now kill more Americans than breast cancer. Fentanyl kills more Americans than guns and car crashes every year. And locally, King County lost over 1,000 of our neighbors to a fentanyl overdose, and that was up 47% over the previous year.
Well, clearly, hope and transformation are needed. We do have some good news today. You and I and we are all doing something important and productive to transform our community. We're here supporting the Salvation Army, and the Army marches forward with compassion in their eyes and hope in their hearts to help those living on the streets, those broken from addiction, and anyone in need. They do this all in the name of God and without discrimination. In fact, the Salvation Army's permanent housing program, Street Level Ministries, housed 1,300 individuals during 2023. I have personally seen this remarkable team in action. They knock on RV doors and tent entrances with one single question: are you interested in permanent housing? It can take some trust building, but usually the answer is yes. Street Level springs into action with their van located only a few steps away to help. They help with identifying the client's resources and hurdles to housing, problem solving so housing is feasible, finding nearby landlords or housing complex willing to partner, providing furnishing and household goods, arranging move-ins, and staying connected for hope and support. The excitement on move-in day for these clients is life-changing. Another program is our Adult Rehabilitation Program, or the ARP, which you'll hear more about soon. Enrolled about 125 participants during 2023. The ARP is the Army's no-cost to the client drug rehabilitation program. It compassionately and effectively restores hope and promotes recovery for those struggling with substance abuse. In fact, on average, its success rate is at least 3 times higher than similar programs.
Well, Lynn, let me share a little bit too. Just a couple of weeks ago, the Salvation Army assumed the operating contract for the City of Redmond's very first ever permanent supportive housing facility that will provide wraparound services to 100 homeless individuals at any one given time. And this is through the county's Health Through Housing program. The Salvation Army is wholeheartedly dedicated to supporting our King County neighbors in need. And by being here today, you too are contributing towards saving the lives of someone in need. It takes a lot of brain power and a lot of resources. It's not a one-person gig, and we need you all.
Yeah, that Redmond facility, if you have a chance to go see it, it's actually very impressive. Very, very, very professional, well done. Well, it's an honor and privilege to be the chair of the Salvation Army King County Advisory Board. I, along with approximately 30 other dedicated community leaders, remain firmly committed to the mission of the Salvation Army and meeting the life-saving needs of our community. I want to take a moment to thank my fellow King County Advisory Board members for their dedication and commitment to bringing hope and transformation to those in the community that need it most. I learn from each of you every day.
Okay, now it's time for round 2 of today's Red Kettle Luncheon audience participation segment. Now, my husband Tim and I are constantly on the move. He tells me that grass will never grow under my feet. I think my mother used to tell me that too. But unfortunately, I kind of like it that way. He does tell me that I'm not allowed to say that I drive across the Northwest, because usually he's driving, and I'm on a meeting on my phone, because I am proudly a professional passenger.
That's two of us. But
That's right, there you go. Well, I want you to kind of get some idea of what we're doing as well. So let's shake some things up and get some oxygen in our lungs.
Okay, here's the first item. Please stand if you are a Salvation Army officer or staff member. Thank you for your service to our mission, person to person, heart to heart, day in and day out. Each one of you helps our neighbors in need not just survive physically and spiritually, but also to thrive in all aspects of their lives. What you do is profound, life-changing work. On behalf of us all here today, thank you. And please stay standing for just a few more minutes now that you've all sat back down.
All right, now for the rest of you, please stand if this is your first time ever at a Salvation Army event. Good job, people. To you, we say wholeheartedly, welcome. Thank you for attending, making time in your day, not just to listen, but to see, to hear, and to support the Salvation Army's impact across King County and beyond. We hope this is your first of many opportunities to gather for us. So in advance, I'll thank you for your meaningful support today.
Should they sit down?
No.
Okay. Next, I'd like to ask all board, committee, and council members, volunteers, and donors to please rise. Your incredible support and dedication keeps our motors running.
So take a moment and look around the room. We are an army. You and I and all of us together, we are positively impacting our most vulnerable neighbors. And I wish you could see my perspective from here on the stage. It really is incredible. So everybody, thank you for humoring us and rising up for this challenge. And you now may be seated.
Okay, next I'd like to thank the members of the Fundraising Events and Public Affairs Committee for their important efforts throughout the year, but especially for everything that went into creating today's event. Many people shy away from fundraising activities, but not these folks. All of them are listed behind me on the slides and are also included in your program as well. Thank you to all of you for being our guiding light for this year's Red Kettle Luncheon. Finally, I'd like to close with one last thank you of the highest esteem and regard to all the active military, veterans, and first responders here with us today. Thank you for all that you do.
Yes, thank you for being our partner, and thank you, Lynn, for joining me up here on stage today. I'd like to now invite Lieutenants Christopher and Magda Rodriguera. They are our officers in White Center, so please welcome them to the stage.
Thank you, Colonel Cindy, and thank you, Lynn. It is indeed an honor to be here today to meet so many people who consistently give their resources and support so that we, that is all of us in the Army, can restore hope and usher transformation for our clients, person to person and heart to heart.
I believe in the sanctity of others is what drives us to serve. In that spirit, it is our privilege today to introduce the 2024 Others Award recipients. The Salvation Army Others Award honors an individual, couple, or organization exemplifying an extraordinary spirit of service to others and exceptional service to benefit the Salvation Army and our communities. We are so fortunate to have previous Others Award recipients here with us today. Can those of you in the room please stand so that we can recognize your ongoing commitment to doing the most good to support the King County neighbors in need.
The Transportation Club of Seattle, this year's 2024 Others Award recipient, truly represents that devoted spirit of service to others and the Salvation Army. The Transportation Club of Seattle is a decades-long partner with a history of successful fundraising events, specifically benefiting the Salvation Army of White Center, where Lieutenant Makta and I are the Corps officers. Approximately 150 members attend their annual holiday luncheon auction, which raises approximately $20,000 every time. However, in 2022 and 2023, those events each raised more than $30,000. And all those funds have been benefiting families seeking holiday assistance at our Corps. Our Corps serves a lot of underprivileged youth, a lot of families in need, a lot of seniors, and people just needing a community to be a part of. And in 2023, the Transportation Club's gift provided holiday assistance to those families. 1,200 children received gifts for Christmas who wouldn't receive gifts otherwise. Their families received a gift card to get a meal for the holiday. And Jeff Clark, who is the immediate past president of the Seattle Transportation Club, has been instrumental in enthusiastically rallying TCS members to make everyday holiday luncheon and auction a big success, just so that children can receive gifts and receive toys for the holidays. But now it's our time to thank you, Jeff, to thank you, Jerry, and to thank the members of the Transportation Club for your profound and life-changing commitment to the Salvation Army. Now, yeah. So I'd just like to invite Jeff, Jerry, and all the members of the Transportation Club to come on stage with Lieutenant Makta and me to receive the 2024 Others Award.
Good afternoon, and thank you. I'm Jerry Poor, the Regional Transportation Manager for the Port of Seattle, and I also have the honor of being the 2004 President for the Transportation Club of Seattle. On behalf of the many members of the club, past and present, and most particularly those who've worked tirelessly on our annual holiday extravaganza, thank you. We deeply appreciate this award. Just a little bit of background on the club. It was founded in 1910, active for over 110 years. And our mission is to encourage the study of transportation issues, support educational and transportation programs, promote closer business relationship, and support the welfare of our members. Next, I'll turn it over to Jeff, who has been the heart and soul of this effort. But first, I want to thank you for all the work you do in White Center and in the Pacific Northwest.
So hello, as Jerry said, my name is Jeff Clark, and I've served in various leadership roles for the Transportation Club for the last 15 years or so. At some point, we had our logo running, and you can see in the logo that our members include industry professionals from various segments of the transportation industry. So when you think of the supply chain, those people that get products from point A to point B, those are the types of professionals that tend to migrate to our club. So specific to the Salvation Army, as Jerry mentioned, our marquee event of the year is what we've grown to call our holiday extravaganza. 100% of our net proceeds go to Salvation Army in White Center. Thank you. In the upper right-hand side, you can see our friend Lisa Borders, who, by the way, where is Lisa? Lisa's the best. She's the best. Lisa and I around Sal, the Salvation Army mascot. So in addition to Lisa, I wanted to mention for sure our friends Chris and Makta from White Center. You guys are rock stars, so thank you. So I'm going to keep this brief. In closing, and as Jerry said, thank you so much on behalf of the people behind me, the other board members who couldn't attend, and all of our members. This is just a wonderful award, so thank you very much.
It's a big debate in my mind on the glasses versus not today. We talked about font size, and I'm right in between. So I may switch back and forth. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Art Langley. As always, representing the Salvation Army, our family's been deeply connected in the Army for now 3 generations, well, really 4 generations. I am the 3rd Arthur Langley of the troop. But joining me today are my sister Emily, who has also been involved in the Army since her birth. Her 2 sons, Will and Trevor, who have been bell ringing forever. And my son Ted, who is here as well, also a bell ringer. My son Arthur, yes, we have another one, is in Brooklyn and not here for the lunch today. But we have all shown up for this with regularity. And I think we're going to try and diversify away from the Arthurs by bringing in this next team. I also want to point out that my mother is here, who at 91 has known all 3 of the Arthurs and was the, I think, first recipient of the Arthur S. Langley Award. I would also be remiss to not mention my good friend Darren Pritt, who went to college with me, who's been super helpful to me as I've helped to grow out the street level program, which you've been hearing about today, who has allowed me to expand with multiple vans, and we're going to try and do that again here shortly with 2 more vans in the near term to be able to do more in the Puget Sound area. So I want to thank Darren especially for being part of that. I'll go back to the script now. I'm sure everybody's nervous about that. The first Langley on the Salvation Army board was my grandfather, Arthur B. Langley, and then my dad followed, which was Arthur S. Langley. My dad said there would never be more than one Arthur Langley at a time. I don't know if that was, well, his reasoning was probably sound on that, but the award today is actually named after him. Some people often confuse that, thinking that Governor Langley was the reason for this, but it's actually my dad, who spent 47 years working for the Salvation Army in a variety of capacities. And then when he died about 22 years ago, I took over. The award is presented annually to an individual, foundation, or corporation to recognize visionary leadership and selfless service to our community. It was established in 2002 as a tribute to my dad and his more than 40 years of leadership. Every year as this rolls around, I'm asked to help kibitz on who we're going to give this to. And usually it's a community member or members who emulate my father both as a leader and as a Salvation Army supporter. This year's recipient is Tony Ventrella, and he's a perfect choice. And lucky for me, he happens to also be a good personal friend of mine, mainly because of my sister Emily, who, and that picture, which I dug out recently, looks a lot like I do now, I realize, but so it could have been recent at Disneyland, but it's not. I met Tony when I was in high school, actually, through Emily. They both worked at King 5. My friends and I were real fans of Tony, and it was noticeable when he came to town because we moved away from the kind of dry sportscast to the sportscast that was full of humor. And if anybody was lucky enough to spend the years watching Tony, you knew that his sportscasts were way more fun, and that I think particularly younger people were like, hey, this guy's cool. So, and in fact, my senior year in high school, we had Tony come to our high school sneak and talk to everybody because that was a big thing, and everybody was excited to see Tony at that too. And it says here that he was not buttoned up and very relatable, which I think are words that I used before to describe him. He gained prominence as a sports anchor for both King and Cairo TV in Seattle, where he worked for over 2 decades covering major sports events and teams in the Pacific Northwest. He became a beloved figure in the region for his engaging and on-air presence and knowledgeable sports commentary, and he deserved all that love and support. He also ventured into politics, not unlike me. And in 2010, he ran as a Democrat candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives in Washington in the 8th Congressional District. And even though he didn't get that seat, the Evergreen State learned what an incredible human he is beyond the news. And this humanity, this goodness, kindness, was instilled in him as a young child by his father, who was a beloved community barber. As Tony watched his dad, Tony Sr., he treated customers, offering those who couldn't pay for haircuts, free haircuts and shaves. He also gave customers and friends fresh food from their family's large garden. And guess what? Our Tony also knows how to give a great haircut. Clearly he's done that with me in the past. Tony learned the value of power, of helping others, and sharing his teen years. When he got into the broadcasting business, he began to do talks and visits at schools with young kids, sharing the value of kindness and love of one's community. He ultimately formed the Positive Energy Productions Foundation, a small company that offered live presentations to nonprofits and corporate organizations on the value of using whatever experience and influence one has to help others in need. I'm going to repeat what I just stated. Our Tony, receiving this year's Arthur S. Langley Award, formed a small company committed to reaching others the value, this is where these are coming back, teaching the others the value of using personal experience and influence to help others in need. Others is a big word in the Salvation Army. Tony has emceed the annual Seattle Great Strides Walk for cystic fibrosis, research since 1980s. His sister had CF, and he has hosted our Salvation Army Eastside Corps annual breakfast for the past several years. And he does an incredible job for us. I could go on about Tony, how he's a moving author, volunteers at camps for young cancer patients, and frequently visits with seniors at local assisted living communities. In the words of one dear friend, what makes Tony worthy of community recognition aren't the laughs on TV but the big generous heart he wears on his sleeve every day, every week, every year, everywhere. These days, Tony's occasionally hands out, quote, people packs, a small plastic bag with toilet tissue, some hand sanitizers, 2 pairs of socks, 2 candy bars, and a $5 bill. It's a reflection of Tony's core belief, each one of us can do good. And it starts with a simple gesture of kindness and compassion. And that's my friend Tony Ventrella. That's also my friend Tony Ventrella, and the Salvation Army's friend too. Unfortunately, early this week, we learned that Tony was not going to be able to be here. And of course, we wish he was here with us, but we understand his absence completely. He's got some health challenges. It'll be my pleasure to deliver the award to him at some point in the future. But in his absence, please enjoy this video that he put together earlier this week, the moment he learned that he could not make it here today.
Hi everybody, it's Tony Ventrella. I just want to give you a great big thank you for honoring me as Volunteer of the Year for the Salvation Army. For the past several years, I've done the breakfast. Thank you, Sharon Mast, and the entire crew of volunteers, the Salvation Army East Side. Thank you, Art. Thank you, everyone involved. Salvation Army does such fantastic work throughout the country, throughout the world. And we really, really appreciate it. I'm happy to be part of it. I had a little setback the last few months. I will bounce back. And I will help next year emceeing that East Side breakfast again. But again, the Red Kettle Award is an honor. I must say I've got buckets in my garage and kettles, but none of them are red, so this is the first time. Thank you again. Have a great luncheon. Love you all. We'll see you soon.
I also want to point out that my dad actually knew Tony quite well as well, and my dad said of him, he's the kind of guy that when he opens the refrigerator door and the light comes on, he does 2 minutes, which is definitely Tony Ventrella.
Thank you, Art, and congratulations to Tony on his well-deserved honor as this year's Arthur S. Langley Award recipient. Every single Corps officer and staff person in this ballroom today brings their heart, their soul, and their passion for saving lives and to work together. We truly consider our service with the Salvation Army to be an honor and a gift, and that we're the lucky ones, bestowed upon to see God's divine grace in really hard places, humble places. Person to person, heart to heart, together, we all transform. I would like to now introduce you to Charles, just one of the many souls transformed by their experience with the Salvation Army. Please watch and please hear.
Hi, my name is Charles Hines. I'm a recent graduate of the Seattle Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Program. I really never had a chance. Looking back as a child and the way I was brought up and the environment that I was brought up, I was put into survival mode at a very young age. I remember going to the dentist and having my wisdom teeth pulled. That was when I was introduced to opiates. This is how I should feel. This is how I always want to feel. I'll just keep taking these. So when my daughter was born, I was in the depths of my addiction, and my wife at the time knew that, and eventually she came home and said, "I can't do this anymore. You got to leave." I remember going into the relationship just knowing, yeah, I really like her a lot and I want a relationship with her, but I know I'm going to destroy her. A lot of people come into recovery and they say, well, I hit rock bottom. Well, bottom gets deeper. I find myself in LA, and now I'm homeless, completely. I have nowhere to go. It was a spiritual low. So I entered the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center, the ARC in San Bernardino. Through that program, I think I became more connected than I ever had been in my life, and just genuine relationships. I looked at jobs in Seattle, and an assistant resident manager in the Seattle ARC pops up, and it paid off. I had it, you know, I thought I was feeling good. I thought I got what I came here to do, and that, you know, I'm pretty much fixed. I go back home and immediately I start feeling restless and discontent. Mariah knows something's wrong. She realizes I'm going into my own pattern. She realizes I'm becoming disconnected, and I start getting really erratic, and then things start falling apart quickly. And I'm using in my truck, and then, you know, just a stranger comes up to me and says, hey, do you want to go get some fentanyl? I was on life support, and I just remember waking up and the doctor telling me what had happened.
I saw him the day before in the hospital, hooked up to machines, and I was just hoping that he would reach out and we'd be able to help him just like he had helped many others years before. It was the call that I had been praying for.
They had grace, all of them did. What helped me more this time was just complete surrender to God. The community can give you something to believe in that outweighs your excuses to leave. And I started praying every day. Just get out of myself for a while, and I think that's the key. You know, I play in the praise band, you know, I lead worship a lot of times, and that helped out. That, you know, just praising and singing songs, and, you know, being a part of the community, and just an amazing experience this time, because I didn't resist it. I made a strong commitment to do it to the absolute best of my ability.
The thing I love most about the ARP is the community that is built around the suffering addict that comes in, along with the alumni who have graduated and moved forward. We get to share meals together, we get to pray together, we get to worship together, we get to go to meetings together. It's just really a beautiful thing.
When men walk through the doors in the ARP, they come to us hopeless, sometimes broken, sometimes really devastated, and not even knowing how to climb back up the ladder. We provide hope. We provide empowerment, a place of belonging, and knowing that they have somewhere to come home to at all times.
I developed really strong relationships through this program too, which I'm grateful for, and I'm so thankful to the leadership, to the officers, that they would take a risk on me, because I knew it was a chance, and they'd taken that chance, and I'm just so grateful that they did that for me.
A place to belong, a place to call home, hope. I'm so honored and humbled to be on stage right now with Major Erica Yang, my friend and Corps officer in Federal Way. Together we shine God's beautiful light on people committed to transforming our community for the better. We pride ourselves on many things here at the Salvation Army, but I want to specifically call out the incredible relationships that exist between our clients and those that serve them, support them, walk alongside them during their unique journeys of transformation. Nothing rings more true, especially looking at this beautiful ballroom today. I'm honored to introduce you to some of our exceptional King County team members and a handful of the brave clients we serve in King County. One by one, I'm going to call up an officer or staff member and one client that they have come to know and care for through the Salvation Army. Person to person, heart to heart, each transformation life-changing and life-saving. I'd like to welcome to the stage Tina Lewis, our Director of Street Level, and Galena, one of her clients.
This bonsai tree symbolizes not just your physical growth, but also your spiritual and emotional growth. Bonsai trees remind us of the beauty and the complexity of life's journey, encouraging us to embrace change and cultivate balance. As we all know, these trees take a lot of maturing and care to survive. This tree is, to me, represents all you have gone through, and that as long as you continue to pay close attention to your lifestyle and your children, you will continue to grow and stay beautiful, just like this bonsai tree.
Thank you, Tina and Galena. I'm inspired by the care that is shown on this stage today between your relationship. Thank you so much. You are hope. I'd like to now call to the stage Captain Hilda Parks of our Renton Corps and one of their clients, Marina.
Dear Marina, I'm so happy that you're here. I would like to present to you as client of Hope, a blanket of the Salvation Army. This blanket is very important because it's practically part of your journey here in the Salvation Army and the United States. And also the Salvation Army enveloping you into our community. You are not alone.
Marina, as a Pathway of Hope client, wrong line. Thank you, Captain Parks and Marina. I'm inspired by your journey of transformation. You are hope. Lieutenant Chris of our White Center Corps and Solomon, please join me up here.
Solomon, when you came into our doors, we just wanted you to know that no matter what your past was, no matter where you were on your journey, that you were going to be welcome as part of our community and our family. I'm going to present you with this frame, and the pictures in this frame, it represents us welcoming you into our White Center community, welcoming you into our White Center church family. And we want you to know that we are with you, and we're going to continue to walk with you alongside you on your journey.
Thank you, Lieutenant Roger Guerra and Solomon. I'm inspired by your journey today. You are hope. Olivia, one of our case managers from the William Booth Center, and one of her clients, Larry. Please join us on stage.
Through the Salvation Army program, Larry has been able to find sobriety and remain sober for 2 whole years. I give this 2-year sober chip to you, Larry, for your transformation and commitment to yourself.
Thank you, Olivia and Larry. I'm inspired by your story of transformation. You are hope. Captains Pavlakis of our Seattle Temple Corps and Julius, a former client and now Salvation Army staff, it's your turn to join me up here.
Julius, as a steward of Cara's Place and through your own sobriety, you are an inspiration and a beacon of light to others, also committed to a life of sobriety. With Officer Training School, a goal of yours, I gift you the Salvation Army hat, symbolic of your beautiful ongoing transformation.
Thank you, Captain Pavlakis and Julius. I'm inspired by your story. You are hope. Finally, I would like to please welcome Captain Kelly and Charles, both from today's video, to share and join me on stage.
Charles, we're about to present you with a plaque here, and we hope that it represents your North Star. As you continue to transform along your journey of sobriety, I pray that your family will continue to inspire you and give you the hope and wholeness, and mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Thank you, Captain Kelly and Charles. I'm inspired by your story. Charles, thank you for sharing your story with us today. And we just pray God's blessing and healing upon you. Thank you so much. You are hope. As Colonel Foley shared earlier, transformation is the spiritual strength you get from having your hope restored. It's when you are given the energy to see, walk into, and embrace opportunities presented before you. Galena, Marina, Solomon, Larry, Julius, and Charles. May the spiritual strength you continue to receive, person to person, heart to heart, guide you on your ongoing journey of transformation with hope renewed. Let's give them a round of applause.
Sorry, folks, we're running a little bit long here. I'll bypass those dad jokes I had prepared for us all. So sorry, maybe next time. As we begin to conclude the 2024 Red Kettle Luncheon, again, we wanted to thank you all so much for being here. These clients are truly remarkable human beings, strong and committed, and doing the hard work required to see, feel, and experience change. Each one transformed into a better version of who they were. And these folks, they literally asked for life-saving help. They wanted to keep going, and they did. Because someone responded to them. Our people, our officers, our staff, our case managers, our volunteers, our donor, and you. You helped. You made sure all these people knew and felt hopeful about the unknown. And today, it is my serious hope that you choose to transform more lives this year in King County, person to person and heart to heart. When we choose to act, this is where the divine intersects our humanity. I have faith in you. I have faith in you. I have faith in all of us have been inspired by what we have heard and seen today. I also believe this entire ballroom is committed to transformation. Are you committed to transformation? Awesome. To support our neighbors and in need through King County because we can, because we are able, because we must. It is now time for all of us to act and enable transformation. Are you ready? Felt like that guy. Are you ready to rumble? I won't go there. We are extremely fortunate to have a group of Red Kettle Challenge donors matching all gifts of $300 over today. These folks and beyond committed to meeting the needs of our neighbors throughout King County, especially with our partnership. And in case you are wondering, if you're bad at math like me, $300 breaks down to $25 a month, or $12.50 every 2 weeks, or $6.25 each week. Friends, why stop your donation at $200 today? Consider $300 or even more than that, and doubling your impact. And if your place of business has a corporate matching gifts program, perhaps you would even want to triple your donation support for the Salvation Army King County. So, table captains, please reach for the large envelope located in the center of your table and pass out donation forms and pens to all your guests so they can privately make a meaningful gift of support to the Salvation Army. And if you'd like to use the QR code, please feel free to do so as well. A Salvation Army staff member will come to your table when our luncheon concludes to collect your table's incredible generosity. And again, as a community of believers, as partners, and as supporters of the Salvation Army, we must ensure that the miraculous work and the incredible life-saving transformation of our neighbors in need continues to grow exponentially, person to person and heart to heart. Thank you so much for your meaningful support. Our talented Salvation Army worship band is going to play some music for us so that we can contemplate our personal giving commitment to the Salvation Army. And please, please, please give generously, because lives in our community depend on it for transformation. Thank you all so very much. You all have a wonderful, beautiful afternoon. Enjoy the great weather. We are so grateful for your awesome support. Thank you very much.